Yeah. Now let us start from here. That now we do have uh, this processing part, which we have seen here. We do have the discourse integration, pragmatic analysis. Then we do have the certain terms like what are phones, what are phonetics, what is phonology. These things are there. What are these strings? You have to just go through all of them. You may skip these parts also. Morphology. Morphemes are basically this analysis. Please put off your mics. And like in case of unbreakable, you come down to the smallest unit of smallest meaningful unit of it. Like un and able, if you separate, you do have the break part in between. Right. Now comes next is the types of morphemes. Like you need to know the inflectional, and then you do have the derivational and the root morpheme. Right. Then grammar part. In this part you need to know, we'll be talking about the parsing part. In parsing, what you do is we do have the top down parser as well as we do have the bottom up parser. In case of top down parser, you do have the whole of the sentence out there and we break it down into the smallest level of the lexicons, whereas in case of bottom up parser, we do have the parsing starting from the minimal level, that means from the lexicon up towards formation of the sentences. So you can see these things out here, like the man traveled slowly, and you break it down to all the lowest level of lexicons out here. There are two parsers that are available. All right, you do have the parsers here. You do have the parsing that has been done. Generally, this whole processes that we have discussed in these are the basics of the natural language processing, but mostly you do have the tools available like NLTK and TextLog. In NLTK and TextLog, you do have a package of more than 2 GB in which you do have the word nets and rest all things that are available. What it does is all these top-down parsing and annotation and part of speech tagging, all these things are taken care of. You don't have to write down codes for that. The only thing that you write down here is how you can manage out the process of natural language processing or its basic complexities. Okay. Or its basic complexities. So like we do have one of the things, like you can see it here. This is one of the taggers, we call it as the named entity taggers. Now, tagging is a process by which there are two kinds of annotation processes. The first annotation process is about the part of speech tagging or the pause taggers. What does a pause tagger do? They tag all the lexicons that are present in a particular sentence in a natural language processing module, right? So if I do have a sentence, it comprises of various different segments. What the maximum number of segments that you know about, like noun, pronoun, adverb, verb? Can you just count out and tell me what is the maximum number of classes of word or classes of lexicons that are possible that you know? You just count it on your hand and say me. What is the maximum number that you feel that are possible? Noun, pronoun, verb, adverb, adjectives. Cardinal number 9, right? 9, max 9, right? Or optimistically, I can call it as 10, 11, right? But if we go through the project of Penn Tree Bank or Pennsylvania Tree Bank project, it is a project of demarcation of all the possible word types that are there in the English language. Then if you go through it, you're going to find that there are 36 different word types that are possible. You might not have been knowing it also, right? We can have a lot. It's not just adjectives with superlative, adjectives with comparative, then determiners, cardinal numbers, what not. This thing is total of 36. So these kind of pause tags, that means parts of speech tags, they are generally there for the natural language statements, right? Now, what happens other than these, what are the kind of taggings that we can make out? They are basically to make it understand from the practical application point of view. Like I do have a sentence, right? I do have a sentence and I want to annotate it. Annotation means annotation is a process of virtually it is about tagging. Let's say please put up your mic, Shreya, 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 roll number 269. So annotation is the process like inside the room, you can simply put up a tag on top of a computer, on top of a chair, on top of every other commodity, so that if a robot comes up, they or an alien comes up, they should be able to understand what kind of an object it is from the tags or from the annotation tags that are there. Okay. So to do those kind of taggings, what are the things that you do? Generally, you can put up tags on chairs, table. I mean, I'm talking about the specified case of inside the room. So table, chair, then you can have other objects like fan, television, AC, and all these things are there, right? So what you can do here is you classify them under the heads of some names and some entities associated with them, right? Some names, some entities that are associated with them, like some persons, some organization, some date, some time, some color, all these kind of things, right? What I want to mean is, in almost 2016, 15, 16, Stanford came up with a kind of a classifier. They call it as a class 3 classifier. In class 3 classifier, if you put up some kind of sentences like Alan is uh, CNN. If I put it under the category C, so Alan is something that it has recognized. Alan is something that it has recognized as a person, right? And organization, I have given an organization name like IBM, right? And I have given a location name also as American. It is breed, in fact. So, but still, see, it is unable to recognize it. What change I'm going to put up here is I'm just putting up a capital A here, and I am putting up a capital IBM here, and then IBM could be recognized, but American is not. Now, deliberately, America, I'm making it, and I'm removing the N. Now, see what's going to happen. America is also now recognized as a location, Allen is recognized as a person, and IBM is recognized as a organization here. All right. So, this is under the class 3 category. If I go for a class 4 category, then the thought of that every English statement in the world cannot be classified only under the three heads of organization, location, and person. I should have some more classifications also. So what are the more classifications that I can have is any other word that doesn't come under these three heads can be put under another head like the miscellaneous or others, right? Like the miscellaneous. So if I have changed it to class 4 classifier, see, I do have a miscellaneous part also. That means it should have kept the remaining words that are there. It is not tagging it, but it comes under the head of miscellaneous. Fine. So it is also good enough. Now they say that no, I cannot put everything under these three heads and the remaining under miscellaneous. It's not good. So let's go for a class 7 classifier. Then there was a class 7 classifier that came up. These are all annotations. So in class 7 classifier, there are some more like percent, money, and date that are there. Percent, money, and date. So if I add up one more sentence like the PROFIT profit percent is 100%. The date of salary is 23rd May 2020. If I put all these things and I put a kind of submit part, then what's going to happen is it has picked up this 100 here. It has picked up this 100 here as a percentage, and it has picked up 23rd May 2020 as a date, right? So if I put up if I would have introduced any kind of money part in this, then this thing would have been easily clubbed up under the head of money also. Now in place of Alan, if I write something like Raghav, Raghav, let's say I have written it as Raghav. See what are the changes that are coming up. See, Raghav has been removed from here, from this annotation, and this Pennsylvania, this Stanford this Stanford NER couldn't clearly pick up this Raghav as a person here. Can any one of you tell me why Raghav could not be picked up here? Can any one of you, whatever thing is coming up in your head, if you would like to share it? Can any one of you tell me? Yes, Raghav is not there in our Indian content, right? Right. Indian context might not be included. Yes. For this, they do have something we call it as the wordnet. They use wordnet is something that they use. WordNet is something that they use. Now, this use of WordNet, what happens is mostly all the packages, when you're going to download it from NLTK, Natural Language Toolkit, they are provided by the Stanford free of cost. In the package, you're gonna find the WordNet. WordNet carries all the, then they do have the city nets. They do the city nets. That means the names of all the premier cities. It will not be picking up Raugarh or any other small city names, right? It will not be picking up. But if you put up New Delhi, or if you put up Boston, California, Texas, they're going to pick it up. So all these things are dependent on a lot of packages that are basically natural languages, particular area orientation basis, right? So there are a lot of flaws in it. Since we don't have any of our own annotation tools, own annotation tools means United States has got their own annotation tools, but we don't have anything of our own. So what happens is most of the research that has been done is on uh, their particular tools that they have provided, right? So you're going to get the API for this, whatever I'm showing you here, and you're going to kind of find the list of all of them that comes up as a package within this NLTK, right? It is out there. Now comes up something else, like ठीक है, ये मुझे आपको कहना था, मैं just छोड़ दो। अच्छा, एक और चीज़ आपको कहना था, कहीं पे एक जगह पे आएगा एक 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 टाइप ऑफ नॉलेज ओरिएंटेशन में, ये मैं आई एम जस्ट इंट्रोड्यूसिंग यू इन द मिडवे वन थिंग बिफोर आई, सो दिस इज ऑल फॉर आवर natural language processing. I'll not be going into the in-depth part of it anymore. I've got one more thing to deal with now. Before I go for it, there's something called the ladders, right? Ladders are generally hierarchical tree-like diagrams. कुछ कुछ जगह में आपको स्लाइड्स में दिखेंगे, बट देयर इज नो एक्सप्लेनेशन फॉर द लैडर्स आउट देयर. They are basically network diagrams, and there are some types of ladders, right? The first one is the concept ladder. Concept ladder shows the class of the concepts and their subtypes. So all relationships in the ladder are in a relationship that is, we are talking about some typical type of plants and its belongingness. Like there is a car. Car is a vehicle. That means it comes under this category. The concept ladder is more commonly known as the taxonomy based. So that means this is a tree. These trees are within them, and these are their typical attribute classes. Likewise, we do have the composition ladder. In case of composition, you do have the brain. Brain has got certain parts of it. They don't belong to it. They are the parts of it. If you break it open, then you can have the forebrain, midbrain, and you can have the hindbrain. And this forebrain can have other parts. So I can simply dissect all these things, dissect, bisect, and trisect these things into these many parts. Like I can have these many. So these kind of distributions we call it as this type of ladder structure is what we call it as the composition ladder, right? Then comes the decision ladder. In case of decision ladder, I do have certain things like car fuel. It can be like unleaded, diesel, and battery. Unleaded fuel is more common. It is having good performance and a low fuel economy, whereas the diesel fuel has got all these things. These are the things that you need to know, right? Now comes the last part of it. Last part of course, that is the common sense. So common sense is that of the mental skills of most of the people that they share. Common sense is something like that is, as it is nicely said, like common sense is not so common. So John McCarthy came up with a common sense reasoning mechanism in 1959. They talked about what basically common sense is. Even though there can be systems that can geniusly take care of certain other things like it can take care of solving complex problems, or it can take care of solving complex mathematical problems, or weather prediction analysis, all these kind of things. But there are some other common sense based objectives that may not be achieved by the system. What are these? Like even a toddler knows that if he touches a hot bowl, then he will get he or she may get burned. But these kind of informations can be learned only via example, or maybe in your hand there is a small glass bottle that carries water, and if you drop it, then it is definitely going to break. Nobody is going to say you that if it falls with this much amount of force and there is a fluid movement within it, it will get splashed. No, you know that if it falls, it's gonna break. These kind of informations are innate within us or inherent within us, and these are not taught, but we learn it over a period of time, gradually and successively we learn it. So these kind of senses is what we call it as the common sense, or the overall process is what we call it as the common sense reasoning mechanism or common sense engineering in a whole, right? Computers in ordinary life issues is something that they're you do have the common sense knowledge, like every person. There are certain hardcore facts, like there's a common sense knowledge and there's a common sense reasoning, right? Knowledge is what everyone knows, and reasoning is the ability to use common sense knowledge, right? Now, if we do have the common sense knowledge, then we talk about like every person is younger than the person's mother. And the people do not like that. It is for obvious reason that a person can never be elder than his mother. Now, the people do not like repeated interruptions. Nobody likes when we are interrupted repeatedly. If somebody holds a knife by its blade, then he's going to get a cut. These are some of the common sense knowledges. These are just the examples of it, right? People generally sleep at night. So you cannot make the reverse true. Common sense reasoning. These are some of the examples here. These are just theoretical part you have to go through. How much common sense a computer can have. This is something important, like Project CYC and Project Open Mind. These are the most common things that these are the most common things that are there, and I mean the work that has been practically done. So the first one is the Project CYC, a common sense knowledge base. Building building since what it has done is they have collected around 1.5 million pieces of common sense knowledge, but despite of that there are almost several thousand millions of common sense pieces of knowledge that can still be collected from various circumstances. I won't call it like picking it from several human beings, but from several circumstances, right? So even capturing them and storing them and then reproducing them back creates a lot of problems. You do have the second one, like the Project Open Mind. They comprise of around 7 lakh accumulated facts and 15,000 contributors. It is an MIT initiative. So they are also doing the similar kind of things, making out a database for it and then retrieving those kind of information from it. Now there is logic reasoning. What kind of reasonings are applicable in case of common sense, deductive, inductive, and abductive? We have gone through all those things previously. Uh, and there is a common sense, this kind of common sense system architecture. You do have a template and a script classifier. Okay, fine. If needed, we can have this is what is there. This much, if you go through, it is more than enough. And either today or tomorrow, I'll be putting up the whole set of lecture materials, tutorials, and assignments through uh, through a link from where you can download all those things and you can go through, right? And if you've got any kind of queries, you can ask me at any point of time. I'm available. Okay, you know my contact number. You can come up in our WhatsApp group also, and you can ask any kind of questions out there. I'll maybe again available very soon, right? So that's all. Thank you from my side, and keep studying, keep reading, stay healthy, stay back at your home until government says anything to be done. Please, any one of you kindly take up that the Harshit, take up the attendance and let people go. Purvar, are you there? Please take it. There are very few people. 18 guys are there. 2 screenshots are enough. Exam, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता है भाई. You have to go through the website. Whatever JUT decides, JUT is full and final. It has got all the authority to do anything and everything it wishes, right? So everything depends on JUT. I am not authorized person to say anything here, right? So thank you. Bye. Good evening. Take care. Bye.